This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
Very much, Chair. So I have two things that I'd like to address while I have the floor. The first comes in the context of media reports this week and with the backdrop of the cost of living crisis that's facing Canadians. We learned that a $1 billion government program has had serious questions raised by whistleblowers about $38 million of that spending. And that's just what's been revealed so far, obviously, through these whistleblower accounts that have been reported on in the media. This is, again, with the backdrop of this cost of living crisis, this national debt that's growing at a record pace, inflation at 40-year highs. We have Canadians who are facing mortgage payments, rent payments that have doubled over the last 8 years. Food price inflation is driving record food bank use. 7 million Canadians using the food bank. A third of those food bank users are children. And Canadians need to know that the public purse is being properly tended to and that every dollar is being accounted for. And so I have a motion that I would like to give notice of, that pursuant to Standing Order 1083 and in light of the new information revealed through whistleblower complaints regarding the $1 billion fund awarded by the government to Sustainable Development Technologies Canada to deliver taxpayer money to the green tech sector. The committee dedicates 6 meetings to this matter and hear testimony from the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry of Canada, the Minister of Environment, Minister of Finance, and the committee ordered the government to produce all documents related to this program, including emails, briefing notes, text messages, contracts, funding agreements, memorandums of understanding, and any other documents that the government has related to this program. So that's what I'd like to put on notice.
Okay.
So
if it's just placed on notice, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Barrett, and go ahead, please.
Thank you. I had previously placed a motion on notice, Chair, with respect to the Minister of Environment, Stephen Guilbeault, with respect to, again, media reports of his travel to China to participate in the China Council for International Cooperation on Environment and Development. And this raised serious questions by the public, by commentators, by the media, and of course by opposition members of Parliament about the minister holding a formal role with this PRC-controlled state body while also serving as a minister of the Crown for Canada. It's important that Canada, of course, dialogue on the world stage, Chair, but in light of the matters that we have such fundamental disagreements with the dictatorship in Beijing over, it's objectionable that the minister sit on this body. Now, the charter for this organization states, and I'll quote, "with the approval of the People's Republic of China government," and adds that, quote, "the Ministry of Ecology and Environment of the People's Republic of China serves as the executing agency of the CCI-CED, providing guidance for its operations, implementation, and daily management," end quote. So it's not an independent body, and it is arm's length of the PRC state and the ruling Communist Party. Now, should that be in doubt, of course, this is chaired by an individual who's the PRC's top-rank vice premier and a member of the Communist Party Central Committee Political Bureau, their Politburo. This individual has been described as the most trusted aide of the President of China, and, of course, has been recently appointed to oversee the seizure of power in Hong Kong. So Canada's involvement with the CCI-CED is not new, but a lot has changed in recent years with this organization. Of course, we just dealt with and are in the process, we just dealt with a study on foreign interference, which we heard testimony that implicated the dictatorship in Beijing. And that, of course, we've heard reports from our national security bodies concerning the targeting of members of Canada's House of Commons, including a member of the NDP, Ms. Kwan, a member of the Conservative Party, Mr. Chong, and former members of Parliament. And we saw, of course, actions by the government, the dictatorship in Beijing, that were reprehensible, including the imprisonment for an extended period of time of Canadian citizens Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. These were they were illegally detained in that country. We've recently heard, and it's been verified, that the People's Republic of China, the dictatorship in Beijing, was operating police stations in this country to intimidate members of the Chinese diaspora community who are living here. And of course, our Parliament recognized that there was a genocide that's being perpetrated by the dictatorship in Beijing on Uyghur Muslims. So all of this is happening while China is also not a good actor on the world environmental stage. And the New York Times last month posted that China generated 14% more electricity from coal, its dominant fuel source, than it did in 2022. As of January, China had more than 300 coal-fired power plants in various stages of proposal, permitting, or construction, according to the Global Energy Monitor. That was in the New York Times on July 20th of 2023. This trip by a minister of the Crown, a Canadian minister to China, is in the context that I've just described, is completely inappropriate. And that's why the motion that I put on notice previously, I'd move now, that pursuant to Standing Order 1083H, and in relation to Minister Stephen Guilbeault's recent collaboration with the Chinese Communist Party, a foreign government undertaking human rights abuses and actively interfering in Canada's democracy, the committee invite Minister Guilbeault to appear before the committee and testify for no less than 2 hours within 2 weeks of the adoption of this motion. Thank you, Chair.
The motion has been on notice since September 15th. It is in order. Motion has been moved. Okay. And I see that we don't have consensus on this particular motion, so I'm going to ask the clerk for a recorded vote, please. Madam Clerk, if you want to conduct that.
So it's the vote on the motion moved by Mr. Barrett. Mr. Baines.
No.
Ms. Damoff.
No.
Mr. Killaway.
No.
Madame Fortier.
No.
Ms. Khalid. No. Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Monsieur Gourde.
Oui.
Mr. Kirk.
Yes.
Monsieur Villemur.
No.
Mr. Green.
Je vote contre.
Yeas 3, nays 7.
Okay, so the motion is defeated.